Hi there. I'm excited to talk with you today about our felt needs versus our real needs, but there may be a little bit of noise in the background because we have some construction workers that have been here for 2 days, and so they may be in the background a little bit before we get started. But I want to talk to you because we hear so much today about unmet needs. And this week, even in my blog, I'm going to respond to a woman who struggles to find good female friends. And she shared in her question in the blog that the friends that she's made in the past don't meet her needs. And she wants to be validated and listened to and affirmed and helped by her girlfriends, all good things, but she's not getting it from them. William Harley wrote a best-selling book for couples called His Needs, Her Needs, that many marriages and women in marriages and men in marriages relate to because he identifies the felt needs of men and women really well. But if you think about it more closely, how do you actually discern what your true needs are? Now, we're all aware of the typical list of felt needs, like physically we feel a need for food or water and sleep. On an emotional level, we feel a need for love and companionship, affirmation, appreciation, financial security, safety, comfort, and respect. But what else? Are there other needs that we all have but we don't feel a need for? You see, learning to discern the difference between your felt needs and your true needs or your real needs can take you over very tricky terrain psychologically, because our felt needs often feel so obvious, like capital N needs, the kind of needs you feel you will die if you don't have them. Maybe you feel like you need your husband to love you, or you will fall apart and become unglued or give up on life, like Leah felt in the Old Testament. Or you need to have a baby, or you will die, much like Hannah felt in the Old Testament. Or you need to have people appreciate you, or value you, or validate you. We all have these needs, and they feel so necessary to our well-being and happiness, don't they? While some other needs, perhaps probably even more necessary to your well-being and mine, sit on the back burner unattended for years. For example, personally, I feel a need for chocolate every day. How many of my girlfriends can raise their hand? My body actually craves it. But is that truly a need of mine? Or is my real need to eat a more healthy diet and maybe even to give up my chocolate and eat some broccoli or a banana instead? You know what? I never feel a need for broccoli or a banana. Do you ever feel a need for them? They are not in my felt need list. Yet I do imagine my body would get far more nutrients from broccoli than from my chocolate. Or here's another one. Sometimes I feel a need for encouragement or appreciation or gratitude even from someone I've helped out or sacrificed for. But did you ever consider that perhaps my real need in that moment is actually to develop more humility and selflessness? To be able to give to someone without looking for what's in it for me? Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever said to yourself, I feel a need for more humility in my life? Nope. Yet God says humility is an essential ingredient for our happiness as well as our holiness. In fact, when I wrote a book on the topic of humility, I was actually told by my publisher that I could not put the word humility in the title. Why not? Because books sell in their titles and their felt needs. And my book, eventually titled How to Find Selfless Joy in a Me-First World, has actually been my lowest selling book. Why? Because it doesn't appeal to a felt need. It doesn't appeal to the same need as emotionally destructive marriage, right? I've never had one person approach me in all my years of counseling and coaching and say, hey, I'm here because I feel a need to be more selfless or humble. I have too much pride, or I'm too selfish. Now, he or she may come to that realization after working with me for a while, but they don't feel it. Rather, they begin to see it. So Oswald Chambers asks us, if I could look at myself from God's perspective, what would I see as my true needs? What do you think? Now, please don't misunderstand me. We all have some basic needs as human beings. But perhaps the things we feel a need for are not our biggest, truest, or deepest needs. Here's another simple example of that confusion. Sometimes I feel a need for a nap in the middle of the day. I get so sleepy around 3:30 and I just want to lay down and close my eyes. But I actually think my real need is to get out and get some exercise, get my body moving. And when I do that, my body actually feels much more energized than if I gave in to my felt need to sleep. So here's the deal. Yes, you do have felt needs, and some of those felt needs scream louder than others. And like my chocolate addiction, some of your felt needs aren't real needs at all. They're just wants and cravings. So how do you discover what your true needs are? Well, it starts by asking God what you truly need, because He's the one who knows you best. After all, He made you. And He says that when we seek Him first, which is our really only capital N-E-E-D, the rest of what we need will be added to us. But many times, if we're honest, we really don't want God for Himself. We want Him for what He gives us, and then we get mad at God when our felt needs are denied. Like this woman in my blog whose friends aren't coming through for her like she feels she needs them to. But perhaps a better question than why aren't you meeting my need for friendship might be, God, what are you up to in this moment when I don't seem to have any friends? What is reality teaching me? I don't seem to be able to attract or keep good friends. What's that trying to say to me? Now, perhaps it's because she's caught in a lie, such as people should meet my needs whenever I want them to. Remember those shoulds? And when they can't or don't or won't, I feel dismissed or devalued and hurt and judge them as bad friends. Or could it be that God might be saying to this woman that she has other needs in this moment that she's not aware of, that she needs to pay even more attention to? Perhaps for her, a more pressing need is to learn how to be a better friend, instead of expecting or demanding others be that for her right now. Or maybe a more important need for her is that she needs to learn to speak up for herself with her friends and be able to communicate clearly what she needs from them. Or maybe she even needs to revise her people picker so that she can choose women who might be more interested in the kind of friendships that she's looking for. See, when you're open to the Holy Spirit and wise others, like we talk about in CORE, even when you get disappointed or hurt that your felt needs are not being met right now, you do understand that God has in mind for you to grow. He wants you to know more about Him or yourself or your situation, which will meet a need that you have, but currently you have no felt need awareness of it. Another way for you to discern your true needs is to learn to distinguish your deeper desires from your simple wants. So I'm going to be vulnerable again and share something personal from my life. I desire to have a clutter-free home, and it's bigger than just a want. I really deeply desire it. Probably like many of you, I'm just tired of all my stuff, way too much stuff all over the place. And I've drilled down that desire to a basic need, not with a capital N, but a need nonetheless. And I realize that I am a person who thrives when I have good order and some beauty in my environment, in my life. It doesn't have to be expensive beauty. Clear, clean windows that display nature's beauty will do. But my spirit starts to shrivel inside when I don't have order and beauty in my environment. Now, I don't usually feel a need for order and beauty directly, but I've learned that when I'm in it or I have it, I feel calm and peaceful and happy inside. But I actually discovered that need by paying attention to the opposite. When my environment is cluttered or disordered or messy and dark and ugly, I feel unproductive, distracted, crabby, critical, and sometimes even depressed. But here's the disconnect. I go shopping at the mall or cruise the internet. I find myself buying stuff that I want. I feel like I need it. And that adds more clutter and stuff to my house. So my wants sabotage my more important need for order and less clutter. What do you want? Do your wants sometimes thwart your needs? You see, your wants, like mine, can sometimes feel like needs, but then your true need gets ignored or put on the back burner because of your feelings of want, like I want chocolate. And by eating too much chocolate, I'm not hungry anymore, but then my body doesn't get what it needs to thrive. Maybe in this battle, God knows what I need better. In addition to less clutter or less chocolate, is that I need more self-discipline or more self-control so that I don't get weak and give in to my wants or even my temporary feelings in the moment. I've learned that just because I feel a need for something or want something a lot doesn't actually mean I truly need it. In Matthew 6, Jesus reminds his followers that they don't have to even worry about what they need because he tells us, your Father knows exactly what you need, even before you ask him. Whether you know it or not, God knows it. Also in 2 Peter, the Bible reminds us that God has given us everything we need for life and godliness. So, when you're feeling especially needy, and then you get angry or upset or hurt that your needs are going unmet, your mindset will make all the difference in where you go next. If you see those needs as capital N needs, then you're going to go to a place of demandingness or self-pity or poor me. You'll feel like a victim of someone else's selfishness because he or she won't give you what you need. Or you can see your needs as small n needs or even wants, and that God may be trying to show you a deeper need, a higher need, that you don't have any awareness of, nor do you feel it right now. It's sort of like our body's need for vitamins and minerals. Who feels the need for them? But you do feel the negative effects if you don't get enough of them. If you truly believe God knows exactly what you need, and he promises you that he will give you everything that you need, then when you have a felt need that isn't being met, can you turn to God in trust and know that there must be some other need you have right now, a deeper need, that God is meeting, even if you can't see it or feel it or even know what it is right now. It might be your need to know him better or trust him more. It might be your need to build some muscles that will make you less dependent on other people. It might be your need to learn to speak the truth in love and not need other people's approval so much for your own well-being. It might mean to learn to distinguish your felt needs from your real needs. And in truth, sometimes we don't even know what our real needs are, but God does. And he promises that he will give us exactly what we need. So when things aren't going well and your felt needs are thwarted, if you can ask God, what do I need right now that I'm not aware of? What are you trying to show me? And then listen. You might find that not getting what you thought you felt you needed was actually a good thing, because God knew far better what you truly needed. Until then, God bless.